If you spend your mornings staring at taillights on the 401, the Deerfoot, or the Trans-Canada, you already know the physical toll of the commute. But there's a quieter, much heavier toll happening in your bank account. Middle-class wealth in this country is being quietly drained to pay for the metal box sitting in your driveway. A lingering supply chain hangover and escalating federal carbon prices have completely shifted the math on vehicle ownership. Costs that used to be predictable have moved into a new category, changing how a car impacts your monthly balance sheet. Let's start with the baseline numbers. Stripping away the dealership marketing, the average used car in Canada currently sits around $40,000, and that's before provincial taxes or dealer admin fees add another $5,000 to the total. But the purchase price is just the entry fee. When we add the operational costs for a single year, the scale changes. Financing interest, $2,400 for insurance, $3,800 for fuel, $3,600 for maintenance, and up to $5,400 for urban parking. That stacks up to an annual overhead of $26,000. At $2,100 every month, car ownership now rivals the cost of a second rent payment. This forces a necessary question. Is baseline convenience worth this level of financial leverage? In cities like Toronto and Vancouver, that convenience is often an illusion. Commuters lose an average of 170 to 220 hours a year stuck in gridlock, a massive, unrecoverable cost of your personal time. Then there's the daily shock at the pump. We've reached a point where seeing $2 a liter feels normal. Between market volatility and the carbon tax hitting $80 a ton, fuel has become a constant heavy drain on your cash flow. This is the convenience premium, the high price paid to maintain immediate door-to-door transit access, regardless of the actual utility. This analysis compares that status quo against alternative mobility stacks to identify the specific mathematical points where you can reclaim your income. Failing to reevaluate your transportation strategy in 2026 makes long-term financial progress significantly more difficult. The daily costs are simply too high to ignore. To see the true impact, look at the financing. Financing an average $40,000 used car at 8% over 84 months is a standard entry point. By the time it's paid off, your total layout exceeds $55,000. While you pay interest on that $55,000, the asset is losing 15 to 20% of its value every year. You are essentially paying a premium to own a shrinking pile of capital. This shows the opportunity cost. If that same monthly payment were diverted to an index fund over the same 7-year period, the result is a massive gap in net worth. The car provides mobility, but it also functions as a liability that requires extra years of work to sustain. You're trading future investment capital for current logistical ease. Choosing a standard finance plan on a depreciating vehicle locks you into a cycle of wealth destruction that can last for decades. Your location adds its own set of mandatory penalties. Regional insurance rates in major Canadian cities range from $1,600 to $6,000, supplemented by thousands more for downtown parking and tolls. Insurance premiums are rising by 12 to 18%, while local wages remain largely stagnant. For many, the cost of simply being insured is outstripping their ability to pay for it. There is also a climate maintenance tax unique to the Canadian environment. Severe winters aren't just an inconvenience, they are a direct financial liability. Extreme cold and road salt mandate up to $3,600 in annual preventative maintenance. Brakes, batteries, and corrosion repair are non-negotiable costs for keeping a vehicle safe in these conditions. These environmental factors eliminate the strategy of buying a cheap, out-of-warranty combustion vehicle. The cost of keeping an older car road legal in winter often exceeds the monthly payment of a newer one. These compounded urban and climate taxes ensure that the budget car owner is a disappearing demographic in modern Canadian cities. One alternative is pivoting to a used electric vehicle, like a Leaf or Bolt, utilizing federal and provincial rebates to lower the entry price. This strategy drops the acquisition cost below $20,000 and entirely removes the $3,800 annual fuel bill and the carbon tax. Mechanical maintenance also drops significantly. With fewer moving parts and no internal combustion systems to fail, the long-term repair budget is much more manageable. However, this requires a trade-off. You have to manage reduced range during extreme cold and ensure you have access to reliable home charging, or the savings are lost to public charging fees. A used EV is a powerful move to slash operational overhead, though it still keeps you tied to a depreciating asset in your driveway. The most aggressive way to reclaim wealth is the hybrid mobility stack, using public transit daily and car share services strictly for utility or travel. This model reduces total transportation overhead to under $3,000 annually, which is the most significant saving available in this analysis. Stripping away car payments, insurance, and gas can return up to $20,000 a year in post-tax income to your household. This requires a shift in mindset. You sacrifice spontaneous mobility and accept the friction of planning your day around a transit schedule. While transit is less convenient than a private car, the financial leverage it grants over a decade is a massive advantage for your net worth. The hybrid mobility stack allows you to convert thousands of dollars in former overhead into investment capital, trading a small amount of convenience for long-term financial autonomy. Defaulting to 2 financed cars per household is a massive financial drain, often costing families over $50,000 a year in total overhead. This framework helps map your strategy based on how much lifestyle friction you can tolerate compared to the savings you want to achieve. For suburban families, the 1-car household is often the most balanced move, saving roughly $15,000 annually. This involves consolidating to a single, well-maintained vehicle, ideally an EV, while the other partner utilizes transit or carpooling for their daily needs. Urban commuters can aim for the maximum savings quadrant by entirely removing the vehicle and adopting the hybrid mobility stack. Car payments and insurance renewals are typically billed in small, recurring increments, which often masks their total financial impact. When you audit the full year of spending, the scale of the wealth transfer becomes clear. Financial autonomy requires treating transportation as a modular utility rather than an identity purchase. Once you understand the full cost, you have the ability to reclaim your wealth and choose a strategy that actually works for your future.